Welcome to Reiki Rising, a podcast dedicated to the transformative power of Reiki and the journey of spiritual awakening. I'm your host, Raven Waterblossom, your guide on this path to healing, self-discovery, and inner peace. Here, we explore the depths of energy healing, mindfulness practices, and how to align with the flow of life's natural rhythms. Whether you are a seasoned practitioner or just beginning your Reiki journey, this space is for you. Join me as we rise together, embracing the light within and around us. Let's begin our journey. Welcome back to another episode of Reiki Rising. I am your host, Raven Waterblossom, and today we are talking about a radical idea, an idea that has been beautifully shared in the book Rest is Resistance by Tricia Hersey, the founder of a NAP ministry. In this episode, we'll explore the concept that rest is not only a form of self-care, but an act of resistance. We'll also be weaving in the transformative practice of Reiki, discussing how it can support us in deeply restorative rest. This is not rest to make us more productive or available for others, but to simply honor our divine right to be. This book was recommended to me by a friend who could not stop talking about this book, and I knew that I had to read it for myself. So I downloaded the audiobook and decided within a few minutes, I didn't even get through the introduction, that I absolutely had to have this book in my hands, a physical copy of this book, so that I could explore these concepts a little deeper. This is something that really resonated with me because, as you know, and as we'll talk about here, the process of Reiki or a Reiki session, or just honoring our bodies and our spirits with an act of self-Reiki in our daily practices, or as much as we try to incorporate that into a daily practice, is about rest and restoration. So this topic is something that I was already passionate about, and I love offering Reiki as a place for people to rest and receive and to heal themselves just by holding this space. So it paralleled the work that I love doing in the community as well, and I was really excited to read this book. I blew through it. And in honor of this book, I am hosting this episode of the podcast. I have also created a new Yoga Nidra meditation, which, if you have done a practice of Yoga Nidra before, if you've heard me talk about it, it is deeply restorative, and this practice of Yoga Nidra is so beneficial for our bodies. If we are finding it difficult to create time in our day for our bodies to rest, to just be, 20 minutes of a Yoga Nidra practice is equivalent to approximately 4 hours of rest for our body. So I felt it really important, as we head towards this season of rest, to create practices for you all. So I really hope that you will listen to this episode of Reiki Rising. I hope even more so that you will find this book, Rest is Resistance. I'll be linking it in the show notes. And I also hope that you will listen to the new Yoga Nidra meditation that is in my Substack, which will also be linked. Just as a reminder, all of the meditations that I am uploading to the Substack will be available for free. October 1st is when this goes to a paid subscription, so I will not, I could possibly, but most likely will be just sharing meditations that will be under that paid subscription. So you'll still have access to all of the ones as a preview leading up to October 1st. Those will remain free. So this Yoga Nidra meditation will remain free. You'll have access to it. And then I also invite you in the month of October. I am going to create a whole theme about sacred rest, restorative practices in our yoga practice, in our classes for the month of October. That will be our theme. So there are so many opportunities to practice this idea of rest. So let's go ahead and jump right in to more about this piece of work. The book Rest is Resistance isn't just a guide to rest, it's a manifesto. Hersey also is known as the Nap Bishop, and she has created the Nap Ministry, which invites us to really rethink the societal pressure to always be doing and instead embrace rest as a form of rebellion against systems that demand constant productivity. At the heart of this work is the assertion that rest is an essential, sacred act, especially for marginalized communities who historically have been denied rest. Rest, in Hersey's words, is not a luxury, it's a right. So let's take a moment to start this by honoring the pioneers and scholars whose work supports this idea of resistance and rest. Figures like Audre Lorde, who was quoted saying, "Caring for myself is not self-indulgence, it is self-preservation, and that is an act of political warfare." Lorde's work, along with those of other Black feminists, deeply informs Hersey's framework. It reminds us that rest is a reclamation of our bodies, our time, and our spirit. Research from the fields of health and wellness also back up this idea of rest being a right. Studies have shown that chronic stress and overwork not only exhaust our bodies, but they literally shrink parts of our brain, particularly those responsible for memory and emotional regulation. Burnout has become a public health crisis. So many of us have internalized the belief that rest is unproductive or lazy, and we've been conditioned by capitalist structures to see our worth as tied to our output. Hersey boldly challenges this. She declares that we are enough just as we are. I, for one, can resonate with this on a deep level. I have spent most of my life working for somebody else. And as you know, if you've been listening, I have recently decided to cut ties with the capitalistic world of production and driving myself into the ground and put that energy towards working for myself to build these spaces for people to rest, for people to heal themselves, for people to explore their bodies and their minds in a completely different way than maybe they ever have before. And this is something that I am deeply passionate about, and I also struggle with at the same time. It has been a transition of me changing the way that I work myself to support this effort. So I have been learning the balance of giving myself more rest, and for me, so much has come up that I have had to deconstruct and decolonize my mind into this place of not feeling guilty for giving myself pause, for giving myself an extra day off, or for giving myself space in the middle of my day to rest. It has been even a challenge for me to use my days off, quote unquote, days off, as not work days, to set an intention and make an effort to not produce anything on my days off. That is the challenge currently. So this is something that I am really working to not only share, but also embody. You gotta walk the walk if you want to talk the talk, right? So I understand that this is a practice that has to be cultivated. And as a Reiki practitioner, and this message being so deeply truthful to me, leaning into this practice of Reiki, in essence, as a healing modality that centers around rest and restoration. Through Reiki, we can tap into our universal life force energy to balance and to replenish ourselves on every level, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Reiki allows us rest, not to bounce back, to get back to work, to be of service to others, but to restore our vital energy and to just honor our bodies as sacred vessels. We aren't resting to become more productive, to serve others. We're resting because it's our right. It's essential for healing. Reiki offers us the opportunity to not only rest inside of a container, a sacred space, but to drop into a deeper restorative state, one where we are able to release the pressures of the outside world, where we can release tension, stress, and even trauma held within the body. It's a practice that reminds us that we don't have to do anything to be worthy of rest. We just simply are. Hersey's book encourages us to rethink rest on many levels. On a societal level, it encourages us to recognize that rest is an act of liberation. She cites examples from many other activists and thought leaders, bell hooks, Adrienne Marie Brown, who also challenge the idea that we must always be productive to have value. Instead, they argue that a world where our worth is inherent, where taking care of ourselves, our body, mind, and spirit is not radical, but necessary. I think this is something that we can all resonate with. This is necessary. We've learned this in the last couple of years. Rest is so necessary for our bodies, and the systems around us are created to uphold this space where we are worked so much that we don't have time to think about how fucked up these systems are. It's designed that way to disempower us and to disinherit us from our right to rest, to exist in this world, to be present here in whatever space you are in at any given time. Rest is so good for us. It's so good for us. Hersey talks about how this is a portal to dream new futures. How in rest we can imagine possibilities that go beyond the limits that are imposed on us by these systems of oppression. Reiki too offers us access to those expansive states of being where we can feel connected to something larger than ourselves. Something that connects us to a place where we can allow our energy to flow freely and to really heal on a multi-dimensional level. So how can we start to integrate this understanding of rest and Reiki into our lives? One way is to carve out an intentional space for rest each day, not as an afterthought, but as a priority. We schedule work, we schedule meetings, activities. We can also schedule rest, whether it's through a nap, a meditation like a yoga nidra practice or another meditation, to simply allow ourselves a few moments of stillness. These moments of rest help us connect with our true essence, help us connect and grow spiritually and energetically, and to restore. Another way is through a Reiki practice. If you are new to Reiki or if you've experienced Reiki with a practitioner, this practice can help you really tune into your body's natural rhythms. Even in a 5-minute self-Reiki session, you're able to ground yourself, clear energetic blocks, and really come back into a state of balance. So I encourage you to try integrating rest into your routine, integrating Reiki into your rest routine, perhaps as a part of your evening wind down or as a gentle pause in the middle of the day. You don't have to do anything to earn your rest. You don't have to be exhausted. You don't have to be on the brink of burnout to deserve stillness. Rest is your birthright, and it's honoring an act of resistance. We have to move through the world and carry this message forward, not just for ourselves, but for others. So by resting, we are giving others permission to do the same. We are leading this resistance by honoring our bodies, honoring our spirits, and giving us a space to just be. So I would love to hear how you are incorporating rest and how you're incorporating Reiki into your life. Please, please, please share with me. I would love to hear from you either as a comment in this post. You can find me on social media, or I may even host a live Reiki share again soon, so we can come together, rest, heal, and restore. I do offer these practices every other month, holding a community space in person in Spokane or online. You can join us as well if you are not here local, to offer this space of rest and stillness so that we can honor our bodies and our spirits and our ancestors. Thank you so much for tuning in to Reiki Rising. May you find rest in the rhythm of your days. May you continue to guide yourself with Reiki into that sacred stillness within. Until next time, be well, be rested, be at peace. Don't go anywhere just yet. As a reminder, the links to these resources are in the show notes. A big thank you to my friend Emma Ray for sharing this book with her followers, for sharing it with me. I am so grateful. I really love this body of work, and definitely check it out. I'll be linking the link to purchase Tricia Hersey's book, Rest is Resistance. You can check her out on social media. Check Emma Ray out on social media, Emma Ray Empowered. She does book reviews for Black authors, queer authors, all kinds of authors, but she writes reviews in a local newspaper. So proud of her. It's amazing. So shout out to her for just killing it. She's doing so good. So definitely check her out, Emma Ray Empowered. I will link it in the show notes as well. She does tons of book reviews and has never led me wrong or anybody else. They are amazing. So definitely check it out, and I will see you next week. Thanks for being here.